Hey, how's it going? Today's October 8th, Tuesday, and we're gonna be taking a look at the market, and we're gonna be taking a look at government's press releases. The government have released quite a few press releases. I have picked apart perhaps 10, and within those 10, we're gonna be taking a look at opportunities and perhaps finances. So government might be allocating finances to particular projects. Are we gonna be able to engage with some of those opportunities? I haven't read it. Maybe. Most likely, we're gonna be taking a look at what would be important: salmon and poultry. Perhaps so that would be food market, right? That's I haven't read it, but perhaps those opportunities would be made available, as well as there would be energy sector, creativity sector, finance of the military, as well as perhaps a couple of projects that would be buses, and in particular how those buses would be powered. So some of the buses might be powered with electricity, and some of those with hydrogen. So there's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of articles. I'll try to make sense of all the information. Right, let's start. Let's begin by taking a look at game-changing technology to reach the public faster, as dedicated a new unit plans to curb red tape. Science Secretary launched new regulatory innovation office today to speed up public access to new technologies. Okay, I would not necessarily agree with this statement. It's good that they're doing that, but usually it would take many years. But so I don't know. But either way, Regulatory Innovation Office to reduce the burden on the red tape and or speed up access to new technologies that improve our daily lives, from AI in healthcare to emergency delivery drones. Okay. I would say usually they need enough time to test any kind of technology. I would say what would be a reasonable amount of time to be tested? 2 years before wide scale adoption and on the release, right? I don't know. It would be important, but what they're referring when they're saying they're looking to speed up, right? Research begins on chair to lead the office, driving economic growth throughout regulatory reform that enables innovation. New office deliver one of the key manifesto commitments and is among steps to back business building UK Housing International Investment Summit. We can take a look at, but I don't know. We can briefly take a look at it, right? Would It's too many articles today. We won't be able to read everything in necessary detail, right? That would be engineering, biology. We can take a look at this particular sector. It's just 10 minutes, so we do not have enough time, as well as space, artificial intelligence, and digital healthcare, connected and autonomous technologies. There's limited time in the day. I would like to cover all four, but not necessarily we will have enough time, right? And in the bottom of this article, we can take a look at potentially finances. So actually, finances might be allocated in order to address some of these problems. So we can take a look at 1.6 million and see if we can engage with the team and see if we can work together with food standards agencies. So food security would be important, as well as we can address the problem that government themselves did research that there isn't enough fish. So since there is a problem, perhaps we can solve this problem, right? Briefly, we can touch on the problem. Something that most likely would be overfishing and other practices that would lead to better yields, but that would be uh, the way how fish would be grown. And perhaps there might be some projects up there that would be UKC fishery statistics on schedule corrections. The Maritime Management Organization has published corrections of UKC fishery statistics. The Maritime Management Organization (MMO) has today 8th of October published corrections to UKC fishing statistics. This following an investigation into fisheries leading data (MMO) manages for England and/or report for UK fisheries authorities and a part of the annual UK sea fisheries statistics. After this Discrepancies were recently discovered in the data sets, especially with the release of missing landing records from between 2018 and 2003. Okay, okay. Most likely, we need to summarize some statistics, right? That will be quantity of leading as our measures by live life weight has been adjusted upwards by an average of 1%. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, we don't have enough time. Let's progress. Let's take a look at how to solve this problem. So there is a problem in statistics, and statistics, perhaps data and the way how data would be measured. There's a lot of inconsistency, and this report that there is a lot of inconsistency with the data, right? Okay, okay. So it's a mess. Basically, it's a mess, and people who should be doing this and presenting this data only necessary information, starting with what data we're looking at. Okay, so where things were, where things are, all these kind of things, what human activity impact to fisheries, that's the data that we're looking for. But the way how these articles will be presented is such a waste of time. Who has time to read all these articles? And they're misconstructing, presenting data in the many different ways, so nobody can understand it. Let's progress and let's see a look at the next article. That would be, we already touched on some of the projects, the massive projects that are already being launched. So perhaps that would be in addition to, there might be similar projects or since there's a lot of things, there's a lot of problems. But either way, let's focus on the positive notes, right? There's a new project, a new forms of growing fish, right, and potentially large quantities of fish. Hopefully, that would reduce cost, not increase cost of different types of fishes in the grocery stores, right? After the Engineering Biology Sandboxes Fund, this fund will support innovative engineering biology sandboxes which aim to accelerate pro-innovation regulatory reform and encourage businesses to innovate and invest. And there is a terms and conditions, all these kind of things, as well as we can touch only on the important parts. There is a contact information and finance is made available. That would be 1.6 million. For people with sandboxes would be more likely we're going to be taking a look at software solutions, right? Not necessarily hardware solutions. So that would be a definition for sandboxes, right? How to grow more fish in perhaps a smaller space or larger space. What would be more important? Yield, how fast and what perhaps what kind of fishes, all this kind of research, and might be finances made available, right? As well as some fishes might grow faster, some fishes might need particular temperature, all these kind of things. The entire subject can be very complex, and let's progress and let's take a look at next article, right? Let's take a look at next article. That would be World News Story, ASEAN, UK advancing creative economy launch to foster collaboration and development. The new program will focus on professional development, knowledge exchange, and networking among policymakers and creative practices. This part will be important as well as collaboration, but not necessarily there's any funds available, but not necessarily that only funds would be important. But either way, UK mission to ASEAN and North British Council is thrilled to announce the launch of the unique ASEAN UK Advanced Creative Economy Initiative, aiming to bolster creative economies across ASEAN region throughout collaboration with the UK. The program will start with the policymakers roundtable. Okay, 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 yeah. There's a potentially strategy in place, and most likely they're going to be looking for professional development courses, knowledge exchange between UK and ASEAN, as well as research into ASEAN arts sector. So that is just an example, and there is a contact information for people who are interested. Let's progress to the next one. Next one might be important. That would be OS name future operations of National Underground Assets Register. Since land might be very expensive, people or creative people might be thinking how to develop projects underground, and government perhaps would like to oversee some of these projects, as well as I would be taking a look at to health and safety. If doing any work underground, there might be Proper ventilation in place, all those kind of things, but perhaps government just like to understand a little better what's happening, right? Geospatial Commission opened ordinance survey to operate a national underground assets register with the service transition to a public beta in spring 2025. So I'll touch on it. We won't be delving deeper into it. So potentially a beta version might be out for people to engage and or register some of those assets, right? Many things can be underground. Perhaps some of the projects that we were taking a look at in the beginning of the video can be underground. Anyway, let's progress and let's take a look at other articles. Anyway, let's take a look at it briefly, and we're gonna progress to the next article that will be ensuring the profit rate for non-competitive defense contracts is fair and robust. It's I don't know who written this article, but most likely the person had to do something about some of the work practices. I have seen some of the drones and how much one drone can cost. Some drones can cost 20,000. I don't know what's inside those drones, but similar drones can cost 200. So just to put things into perspective, 20,000. Usually, there's I can't imagine what would purchase reason to purchase such a drone for 20,000. But either way, where $200 drone can do even more things and more. But either way, the SSRO has published a consultation of the most recent engagement with stakeholders regarding the improvements of yearly baseline profit rate assessment process. Each year, Secretary of State for Defense receives recommendations of the for-profit rate, known as the baseline profit rate (BPR) from SSRO. This rate is used to follow years to set profits for contracts that Ministry of Defense awards with competition. The base profit BPR has been applied to contracts worth over 105 billion since 2014, including over 8 billion to estimated contract profits, right? If anything, there's many sides to this argument, since current process might take 6 steps, and they might be interested in reducing those 6 steps into 3 steps. But again, with the reducing 6 to 3 steps, and how they would be able to evaluate entire project by reducing only to 3. So there is a constant push and pull, how long the process should be, as well as all these kind of things, and how much it will cost, right? Some people were comparing different militaries, Italian military, and how expensive can be or cheap compared to UK's military, and to maintain it, and how it would cost. Other people who are interested more to find out more, they can do their own research to understand in comparison how much things can cost, right? But how people would be able to evaluate and compare things, right? So there's more to it. Let's progress to the next article. Potentially that's the article that I was taking a look at. That would be salmon stock in England lowest on record. Atlantic salmon stock in England have reached new low according to new report Monday 7. So I don't know if this there was additional report, something that we have read already, but potentially some of those global warming, all these kind of things, right? As well as overfishing, many reasons. And some of the software solutions that we were taking a look at, I believe that was 1.6 million to address this problem, right? So there's an entire article written about this problem, and it's a real problem, and government is looking at it. But again, if it's sound investment and the need of salmon, as well as perhaps there might be some alternatives, salmon might be 90 days. Some of the fish can, or very similar fish, can grow in 60 days. So there's a different issues there. But some people, perhaps there's more to it, right? Let's progress to the next article. Right? Other area that would be poultry. So since we're taking a look at food security, right? 160 million boost for UK poultry industry as imports to South Africa restart. I was trying to do a little bit more research on this subject. It's very complex. Perhaps eggs would be sent to places like South Africa, and they would grow it, and later, after a number of days, I can't remember how many days, they would send those birds back to places like UK or Europe. But perhaps this is what they're referring to. I haven't read it yet. British policy can once again reach South Africa tables after UK secures market access estimated to bring up to 160 million in industry over the next 5 years. The development will allow UK traders to export poultry to South Africa. Oh, okay, so that's a process. Okay, I don't think UK has enough poultry themselves. So if UK can potentially, unless something have changed, historically speaking, UK cannot grow enough poultry. So that's where misunderstanding can come. If historically UK cannot grow enough, and not they cannot grow enough, and they're looking to export it, I guess I don't know. It's always good to have these opportunities, but either way, the first the development will allow UK traders to export poultry to South Africa for the first time in 8 years. After restrictions were placed on UK imports, allowing outbreak of avian influenza in the UK. The UK was, I don't know if I can pronounce those since the video might be flagged, right? The UK was declared free from different diseases earlier this year. Lowering its trade barrier has been one of the UK's priorities for agriculture trade, and its resolutions mark a significant step towards benefiting South Africa consumers with access to a high quality and was secured to supply of poultry meat. Okay, perhaps something have changed. I don't know if UK can grow enough at the cost, unless UK can address growing enough birds at the cost. Perhaps those opportunities might be available, right? Next article, just something that we were taking a look at yesterday. That would be oil and potentially sector, energy sector, and that would be World Future Energy Summit, which might be important for people to take part if they're interested. That potentially can be a lot of investments, all those kind of things, right? Instead of perhaps taking a look at this article, let's take a look at £500 million investment in electric buses secure ahead of International Investment Summit. That really commitment across the country will benefit from a brand new state-of-the-art green buses. That would be 500 million investment announced to deliver 1,200 UK-made zero-emissions buses, ensuring green and better journeys for passengers. I don't know. This entire subject is very complex, since if they're looking to build those buses in UK, there might be just a handful of companies who can do it. And they have very good technology inside those buses, which might be very hard to develop. So, but either way, that we were taking a look at the places in Europe like Lithuania. They have buses that do not need drivers, right? For example, the tests are taking place in places like Lithuania, something that we were taking a look at. Perhaps that might be 1.2 thousand buses that UK should consider of building, since in the picture we can see different buses, but that would be our decision or investment, right? As well as I thought we can take a look at other announcements that was announced yesterday that the hydrogen powered buses fleet hits the street. So potential alternative energy sources, right? Another 34 hydrogen powered buses will soon be operating across Surrey. The 23 single-decked and 11 double-decked buses have a range of 600 miles and produces no emissions, which is great. But again, in the picture, I can see a driver, so that's a different issue there. Why we need a driver? Driver could be doing other things. Let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.